The bass line boomed, the white boy crooned, and the young girls swooned.
Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly.
He went out there and did his thing, and like what? You know, the Iceman is coming.
Streaming like a mic, like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a jaw like a candle.
In 1990, Ice Baby captured the airwaves, and Vanilla Ice captivated America.
He was enormous. I mean, he went from 0 to 100 in about 3 seconds.
I was like, man, this is awesome. And I had, you know, women and money, and I'm gonna be able to get cars and do this, everything, you know, just a dream come true.
But just months after his debut album rocketed to #1, Vanilla Ice was slammed to earth in a powerful backlash.
Ice basically, you know, was in the fast lane to one-hit wonderland, and that's where, you know, he ended up.
Somebody doesn't sell 7 million records and just fall off the face of the earth, but that's what happened.
Go ninja, go ninja, go, 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 go.
Ninja, rap, ninja, rap.
Branded a pale imitation of a real rap artist, the superstar quickly became a laughingstock.
Now, a lot of people call my next guest the Elvis of rap because they like the way he looks and dances. I call Vanilla Ice Elvis because I wish he were dead.
Why is everybody picking on me?
It's almost something that we live with. It's like you're supposed to hate Vanilla Ice.
I tell you right now, after looking at it, man, I would give it all the money back.
Now VH1 dissects the Iceman's rise, his fall, and his infamous late-night encounter with notorious record heavyweight Suge Knight.
They shut the door behind me, and I'm looking up at these guys like, oh.
Vanilla Ice, behind the music.
Go white boy, go white boy, go.
Face the music, then I'm right behind you with a posse of mic and a funky rhyme. With a lesson well taught, here's some more advice. I don't sweat it on the mic cause I'm full as ice.
In the spring of 1991, Vanilla Ice had a top 10 album, a handful of awards, an army of devoted fans.
Word to your mother, and God bless all my fans.
He also had critics, a large and dedicated contingent of accusers and detractors. Vanilla Ice was under fire.
It was incredible how things got played out, you know? I was a complete target.
They said he lied about his background, that he wasn't a rap artist, but a rip-off artist. Vanilla Ice was ridiculed in headlines, interrogated in every interview.
Ever since my record went #1, I'm a prime suspect to be picked on.
His fantasy of stardom had become a living nightmare, and the relentless attacks, he says, drove him to the brink of suicide.
I have a $600,000 Porsche, $2 million to $3 million house on Star Island, house in Dallas, a house in the ski resort, and a house in LA. And I'm sitting here on the floor going in convulsions with my friends dumping buckets of cold water on me, wanting to die.
The fans were gone, the cheering had stopped, and he was left behind with a tainted reputation and the painful legacy of having been Vanilla Ice.
It's like you're supposed to hate Vanilla Ice. And if you ask somebody why, they usually don't have a good answer. Well, that's just the way it is. You know, he's a joke.
Imagine being Vanilla Ice. You know, imagine being that phenomenon, you know, being young and being famous and blowing up like that and all the opposition.
I can even stop and look at it and go, that was whacked, man. That was f***ed up. F*** me, f*** Vanilla Ice.
A decade after his spectacular rise and crushing fall, Vanilla Ice is back with a new sound and a determination to silence those who dared to brand him as... Vanilla Ice's new sound was shaped by Ross Robinson, a renowned young producer known for his cutting-edge work. Ross took on the challenge of resurrecting America's most maligned singer.
Let it rip.
He's the most...
Tapped into his years of pent-up rage and frustration.
You're totally free to do anything you want, and I'll like help shape it here and there.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
He was like, man, you need to write about some of this stuff on the record. And I was like, dude, I'm not about to write about these problems in my life. I'm trying to shut them out and forget about them, and I've been trying for years and years. But after I did it, it was like complete therapy, you know? It was like out of me, I was free.
For the first time in his life, Ice says he's found an outlet for the demons that have haunted him all his life. His fatherless childhood, his years of depression, and especially his success and ultimate rejection.
It's really a sad life. My life, I would not wish upon anybody, and that's the damn truth. Damn truth.
Rob Van Winkle still feels right at home, cruising the old haunts of his early days in Dallas.
Yeah, every light. That was what it was all about. I'm serious. Every light.
The scene, he says, of many misadventures and rowdy nights. As a teenager, Rob and his friends would cruise the main drag, Forest Lane, looking for trouble while avoiding the cops.
But this is the motorcycle racetrack right there. It was a good way to get away from the police. I'm telling you, you can fly. See this straightaway right here? I can get 160 miles an hour down the straightaway.
He's a self-confessed wild child, a boy who was left mostly to fend for himself.
I have no father. You know, my mother's been married 4 times now, and I have a brother and a sister, and we all have different fathers.
Rob was born on Halloween in 1967, and by the time he was 4, his father had left the family forever. Growing up, Rob says he had little discipline or supervision.
I needed my ass whipped many times. You know, probably would have helped a lot, but you know, yeah, I was just raised pretty much by myself.
In the classroom, Rob was just as defiant. He was a poor student who often skipped school. By the age of 18, he had only reached the 10th grade, then dropped out of high school completely. After that, Rob had regular run-ins with the law for driving too fast or getting into fights. He says he once spent 2 weeks in jail on assault charges.
I had no control on me at all. Somebody says one word to me, my fuse is gone, and I'm turning around like, argh, you know. But it's, you know, young and dumb.
Rob's jail time did little to curb his fighting spirit. In January of '87, he got into a brawl outside a Dallas nightclub and was stabbed 5 times.
Okay. The main artery, that's where the one that was bleeding like crazy. His head was right here and his arm was free. He was just, you know, just stabbing me like this.
Rob spent 10 days in the hospital recovering.
Here's the one in my ass. See it? I lost like 4 pints of blood. It's good that I can sit here and laugh about it because I almost was dead, you know.
He was uneducated, undisciplined, and making his living washing cars. Still, Rob dreamed of fame and fortune. Then in the late 80s, he became fascinated with a fad sweeping urban streets.
Every Friday, Saturday night, and this whole parking lot right here was just full of people all the way from this building all the way around here, this whole little area. Just right here, man. We break dance right out here in the middle.
Rob says it was in this parking lot that he earned his nickname Vanilla. As the lone white kid who dared to dance, he always stuck out in the crowd.
I'm like, man, why you guys calling me Vanilla, man? I didn't like it, you know, and when you don't like it, they want to call you it more. Vanilla, 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 you know, and it's like, oh, okay.
Soon, Rob's reputation as a street dancer earned him a regular spot on stage at City Lights, a club in one of the toughest neighborhoods in Dallas.
Did you say Vanilla Ice up there?
I asked him, I say, what do you want to do in life? He said, I want to be a star. I said, a star? Go I'll put him right on stage and see what he could do.
The club's former manager, John Bush, says Vanilla owned the stage the moment he stepped onto it.
He just captivated everybody in the room. And he said, you done heard me bust a rhyme, you done heard me bust a beat. Now you finna watch me move my feet.
By the summer of '88, Rob was going by the name Vanilla Ice and had a regular gig at the club, opening for rap acts like MC Hammer.
I looked out there and I said, wait a minute, he's doing good.
You're hooked.
He wasn't trying to emulate dance moves, he was dancing.
Hooked.
I was shocked because of the fact that there is a white kid who is #1 rapping and #2 dancing.
You understand what I'm saying? If you're a man, you'll stop the land.
I've never seen nothing like that before. He would rip up the floor by itself and people would just stop doing what they're doing and look at him.
Floyd Earthquake Brown presided over the action as the club's DJ. Soon he and Rob were collaborating on their own songs.
I would give him a tape and let him hear something that I did and ask him how would he like this. Oh, I like that. That fits right into what I want to do. Yeah.
It was an average night backstage at a show. I seen this girl.
Earthquake composed the music using a practice called sampling. He took the catchy hook from songs like Wild Cherry's Play That Funky Music and built rap songs around them. Then Ice would add lyrics to make the songs his own.
Something real sexy and nice. Play that funky music.
Vanilla Ice.
Based on his version of Play That Funky Music and a handful of other songs, Ice landed a deal with a small Atlanta-based label called Ichiban. In January of '89, at the age of 21, Vanilla Ice released his first album called Hooked.
Just lay down and boogie and play that funky music till you die.
Play That Funky Music was released as the A-side of his first single. The label sent out hundreds of promotional copies to radio stations around the South, but the song fell on deaf ears.
That's right, baby. Here's a story about my homeboy Randy. He was hooked on a girl named Candy.
In the spring of 1990, Vanilla Ice was playing small clubs around Texas and the South, quickly making a name for himself on the underground rap scene.
My whole crowd for 3-4 years, all black. Everything's always black, and that's what I made the music for, was the black crowd.
He was playing a 100% black club. He was the only white kid in the club, but it didn't deter him. He was very much motivated and confident in himself.
Yep. Play that funky music, Vanilla Ice. Go white boy, go white boy, go.
Live audiences loved him, but after 4 months on the radio, his first single, Play That Funky Music, was going nowhere. Then in May of 1990, a DJ at a Georgia radio station decided to turn over the disc and play the B-side.
Pump it up!
He just happened to flip over the 12-inch to see what was on the other side, and it was Ice Ice Baby.
Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Ice, baby.
Other radio stations followed suit. DJs reported phones ringing off the hook with requests for Ice Ice Baby.
Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow.
Hits are hits, and that one sounded like a hit to me.
By July, buzz about the song and the video had reached Charles Koppelman, co-founder of SBK Records.
I just listened over and over again to Ice Ice Baby. I probably listened to it about 15 or 20 times, and it kept feeling great.
Word to your mother.
For $300,000, Koppelman bought the rights to his album and signed a deal with Ice. SBK immediately repackaged the album, and by August, To the Extreme was in record stores around the country.
I have never seen a record take off so quickly like Ice Ice Baby.
Monty Lipman worked in promotions for the record label.
Pandemonium, out of the box. I can tell you that radio stations, maybe after one spin, were calling me, reporting over 200 phone calls, hit their station off of one spin.
SBK executives wanted Ice on the road as soon as possible. They set him up to open for his old acquaintance from the Dallas club days, MC Hammer.
He was a real cool, young man, working hard on getting his break. And so I was in a position to give him a break on my tour.
When Ice joined him on the road, MC Hammer's CD, Please Hammer, Don't Hurt Him, held the #1 spot on the album charts, the first time ever for a rap recording. Hammer had found a formula for success: danceable pop tunes, big, lavish shows, and flashy, glittery clothes. Soon, Ice says his managers had him literally following suit.
They tried to, get their ideas from different areas and, turn me into something they wanted me to be.
Before joining Hammer, Ice dressed like the hardcore rappers who inspired him.
It was like fat gold rope chain, Fila sweatsuit, rough, rugged, and raw.
But a month into the tour, he was decked out in a full wardrobe of sparkly, oversized clothes.
He began to wear outfits just like mine. And if you look back, you'll see he wore the exact same outfits, different colors. So he got, the baggy pants going and, the same suits.
It was just an image thing that just got played way, way, way out. They wanted to make me, acceptable to the younger crowd to wear the baggy pants.
Charles Koppelman admits his label polished Ice's image, but says Ice had the makings of a pop star from the start.
I would like to say that, we were brilliant marketers. The truth is, it took on a life of its own. He became a teeny bopper idol. Now, I don't believe that's what Ice's intention was. I think that he thought of himself as any hardcore rapper, it's just that he was white.
White suburban teenagers were flooding radio stations with requests for Ice Ice Baby and flocking to his shows.
And that's at the point my crowd started changing. There was no more blacks at my crowd. It's all white, young, crowd.
On October 6, Ice Baby broke into the top 10 on the pop charts, and the money started pouring in. If his fans wanted a teen idol, Ice says, for a price, he was willing to be one.
I was a puppet. Whatever you want me to do, pay me, and I will do it.
Just lay down and boogie and drop that funky music till you die.
Just went along with the ride. I was just, getting paid like crazy and going along with it.
Here's a kid that came from the streets, very ambitious, and when you do wave $1 million, whatever the amount of money it was at the time, it's difficult to say no.
So I was like Jerry Maguire, show me the money, and I was getting plenty of it.
His dreams of stardom were coming true, but with fame came controversy.
Ice has been accused of lifting riffs from other people's music to create his own hits.
The rock press soon took notice of the strong similarity between the hook in Ice Baby and the 1982 Queen and David Bowie hit, Under Pressure.
We sampled them from him, but it's not the same bass line. Like it goes ding, 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 diggy, ding, ding. Ding, 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 diggy, ding, ding. That's the way theirs goes. Ours goes ding, 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 diggy, ding, ding. Ding, 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 diggy, ding, ding. That little bitty change. It's not the same.
Lawyers for Queen and Bowie thought it was the same and took action seeking writing credit and royalties.
With the first record, we did it in such a hurry. We didn't try to seek out anyone to get their okay. We just put it out.
Ice's former manager, Tommy Kwan, says they always knew they'd have to pay up if the record took off, and that's exactly what they did.
There's a lot of publicity about this camp suing Ice, that camp suing Ice, but basically, with a few phone calls, the situation was really handled.
Oh my God, what have I got into? Sooner or later, I thought to get the clue.
On November 3rd, 1990, Ice achieved something even MC Hammer never had. His single, Ice Baby, reached the top of the pop charts, the first #1 single ever for a rap artist.
We were selling 500,000 a week. There was a time we were selling 500,000 a day.
I mean, this thing was just flying. We could not make the records fast enough.
Let me say ice, baby!
On November 10th, To the Extreme knocked Hammer out of the top spot on the album charts, a position Hammer had held for 21 weeks. In less than 5 months, Vanilla Ice had gone from an unknown breakdancer scraping to get by to an international superstar and millionaire.
Stop!
But in just 8 days, it would all begin to fall apart.
I never had any time to enjoy my success. The critics were taking it away from me as fast as they were giving it to me.
Yo, man, let's get out of here.
Turn up the volume, crank up the bass, oh yeah. Vanilla Ice in the place, here to tell you a little story about my 5.0. Letting you know I'm in total control. Oh, yeah.
On November 10th, 1990, Vanilla Ice's debut record became the #1 album in America. The 23-year-old rapper had mountains of money and the adoration of millions. He was on top of the world and loving it.
Oh yeah, I'm still chilling like Bob Dylan, maxing like Michael Jackson, and now I'm living like Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, man, this is awesome. And I had, women and money, and I'm going to be able to get cars and do this, everything, just a dream come true.
Fans clamored for information about the young performer, but in the beginning, reporters had little to go on. Even his real name, Robert Van Winkle, was a well-kept secret.
I really did not feel comfortable with everybody knowing my personal life. I didn't know that was a price I had to pay. I didn't know how huge this thing was going to get.
What reporters did know, they got from a biography distributed by Ice's record company. It claimed he was a gangbanger who grew up in the ghettos of Miami, that he attended a predominantly black high school, and that he was a national motocross champion. None of it was true.
I was doing an interview, and I was answering some questions they asked me, and my answers were not matching the bios, and they were like, well, this isn't what your bio says. And I said, my bio? What bio? And they pulled it out, and I read it, and I'm like, where the hell did you get this? Who wrote this?
Ice claims his manager, Tommy Kwan, made up the story. Kwan says the information in the bio came straight from Ice.
It didn't come from me. When we did his bio, he was answering the questions, and what came out is what you have.
Whether the stories originated with Ice or with his management, ultimately they would destroy any credibility he hoped to have.
Basically, he just told his biographer and his publicist and also his manager these stories. Whether or not they knew what the real deal was or whether or not they cared, I don't know.
Dallas reporter Ken Parrish Perkins began investigating Vanilla Ice's background after receiving a tip from some of Ice's high school buddies. In his initial interview with Ice, Perkins says the young performer recited the record company bio line for line. But in a second interview, Perkins confronted Ice with the cold, hard facts.
I came back and I basically hit him with all of these questions as to why this, why that, why are these discrepancies coming up? And at that point is when he shut down. He basically over the phone just kind of started to yell and rant and rave and curse because he knew he had been caught.
On November 18th, 1990, just 8 days after To the Extreme reached #1, Perkins' story appeared on the front page of the Dallas Morning News. The next day, it made headlines around the country.
I think it affected his career tremendously because what happened was that respect and acceptance that he wanted and he needed so desperately, it started to crumble.
Suddenly, every interview became an interrogation.
People don't want to believe how I grew up and everything, because every time I tell them, you know, how I grew up and where I came from, they all call me liars, but they ain't lying about nothing, you know, it's a straight up truth.
The winner is Vanilla Ice.
For months, Ice remained cool under the media pressure. But then in January of '91 at the American Music Awards, he fired back at his critics.
Word to your mother and the people who try to hold me down and talk bad about me, kiss my white butt. Word to your mother.
Everything was very stressful to me at that time, and I was a very rebellious person, you know. You hit me, I hit you back. You spit on me, I spit on you back. You say something to me, I'm gonna put it back on you.
Ice didn't know better. He had no experiences, you know, being a superstar, selling 1 million records a week, being #1 on the charts, you know, and he just did the best he could, and it was overwhelming. It was absolutely overwhelming for him.
His defiant comment on the American Music Awards only antagonized the press, and Ice was in the hot seat the very next night on the Arsenio Hall show.
Now you get a little time to expound on that. Well, I just basically said it because, you know, the people who said I never could make it, that I would never amount to, you know, said, you know, white boy can't make it in rap music. I, you know, kiss my white, you know, the rest. Like, you know, it's like, ha, right in your face, you know.
So this is a white rapper being suppressed kind of revenge.
Something like that, yeah.
Just a few hours later, Ice would face an even tougher interrogation. This time, the man firing the questions was reputed gangster Marion Suge Knight.
They shut the door behind me, and I'm looking up at these guys like, oh, what's going on? I got the picture, you know.
The story of the infamous meeting between Ice and Suge has reached mythic proportions. It's been rumored that Suge held Ice by his ankles over a hotel balcony and threatened to drop him, all in an effort to extort millions of dollars from Ice.
The story's been kind of blown out of proportion, and I want to clarify right now that Suge and I have no bad feelings or anything towards each other or anything like this.
But if the story has been exaggerated, Ice deserves at least part of the blame. In 1996, he was singing a very different tune about his encounter with Knight.
I needed to wear a diaper on that day. I was very scared.
He told ABC's Primetime Live his meeting with Suge was violent and terrifying.
Roughed one of my bodyguards up. They roughed everybody else in my whole entourage up.
Ice said the 335-pound Knight came to his West Hollywood hotel room to collect royalties on behalf of Mario Lavelle Johnson, a rapper from Dallas who claimed he co-wrote Ice Ice Baby.
Suge took me out on the balcony, started talking to me personally, like 15 floors. He had me look over the edge, show me how high I was up there.
Ice told Primetime Live that he signed papers giving Johnson and Suge a portion of the royalties from the song because he feared for his life.
Signed them and walked away alive.
No one disputes the meeting took place, but what hasn't been explained is why Ice has changed his story, why he described the event as a violent shakedown on ABC and now portrays it as a far more cordial encounter.
We never beat anybody up. In fact, he came to me with a real smooth approach. And he was pretty nice. He didn't do anything.
Suge Knight hasn't changed his story. He's always maintained the version of the encounter Ice offered ABC was laughable.
all these allegations are lies.
Ironically, the dispute had been resolved long before Knight confronted Ice. According to publishing records, Ice's former manager, Tommy Kwan, had weeks earlier filed the paperwork necessary for Mario Johnson to get credit for and royalties from Ice Ice Baby.
I was called by Mario, and I took action and I took care of it. But I guess from their side of it, they really didn't know if it was taken care of or not, and everything was already taken care of. I think this was a street thing.
You know, they wanted some of the publishing, so they got it. I signed some papers for them, and hey, I just look at it like, you know, it was a price I had to pay, and I ended up with way more out of this whole thing than I ever intended. So it's like, whatever.
Ice may have conceded a portion of the earnings from Ice Ice Baby, but he'll never truly share the credit for writing it.
Mario was cool. He's good rapper, you know. But for him to come up and take credit for that song, you know, was pretty shocking to me. I was like, what?
On March 10th, To the Extreme ended its 16-week reign at #1. Ice earned a Grammy nomination for Best New Artist, but his days at the top were numbered.
Always remember that ice melts in your mouth, not in your hands. Yep.
It was just too much havoc. The good with the bad was just too much for me. You know, like, please, you know, slow this thing down. I wish I could turn it around. I tell you right now, it was about the money, but right now, after looking at it, man, I would give it all the money back.
Now, a lot of people call my next guest the Elvis of rap because they like the way he looks and dances. I call Vanilla Ice Elvis because I wish he were dead. Please welcome Vanilla Ice.
Just 6 months after catapulting to the top of the music world, Vanilla Ice was falling hard. By the spring of 1991, he'd become a lightning rod for parody and satire.
Word to your mother.
So you're saying you're from the streets?
Word to your mother.
What street? Sesame Street?
Ice was even mocked by critics ridiculed him. Ice was laughing all the way to the bank.
Yo, this is Vanilla Ice. In America, you have the good taste. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like vanilla ice cream, yeah.
In addition to the records, there was a Vanilla Ice doll, a board game, and an autobiography, and Ice was making millions. Forbes magazine named him one of the world's highest-paid entertainers of 1991.
All the things that I dreamed about, you know, from cars to boats and everything was there, you know. I was like, wow, this is killer. I can get everything I've dreamed of. I got my dream car and boats and everything.
Though he made millions, Ice never earned what he truly desired, a reputation as a legitimate rap artist.
I sold out. I'm a sellout, wow.
Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go, 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 go.
In March of '91, Ice says he was paid handsomely to record a song called Ninja Rap for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sequel, The Secret of the Ooze.
Ninja, ninja, rap, ninja, ninja, rap, ninja, ninja, rap.
Then he says he took a cool $1 million to star in his own movie, Cool as Ice.
At that point, what was cool to me was the money. It wasn't about cool anything else. What's cool is that I'm getting paid, and that's it. And anybody in my shoes, I don't care who you are, would have done the same thing.
Oh yeah, Cat. Words of wisdom. Drop that zero and get with the hero.
The movie was a washout. Cool as Ice grossed just over $1 million at the box office and was yanked from theaters after less than 3 weeks.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
He had plenty of money, but little respect. Ice's album was tumbling down the charts, and Ice Ice Baby had all but vanished from the airwaves. His second album, Extremely Live, failed to break into the top 20.
What we were guilty of at the time is, you know, we saw an opportunity and we went for it, and that's why there was a live album, that's why there were dolls made, that's why this kid was put in a lot of compromising positions, because we just saw an opportunity to cash in, and unfortunately for Vanilla Ice, it killed his career, you know, just overexposed in such a short period of time.
Somebody doesn't sell 7 million records and just fall off the face of the earth in the radio business. But that's what happened.
Ice's former booking agent, Peter Seitz, says he couldn't give Vanilla Ice away.
We went from selling out every venue that we played at to not being able to book Knott's Berry Farm, which is free to get into. That's how fast he fell.
His confidence shattered, Ice found comfort in the one thing he still had plenty of: money. He had homes in Miami, Dallas, and Los Angeles, a large collection of motorcycles, and a fleet of expensive cars.
This car was made from Uwe Gambala himself over in Stuttgart, Germany. It's only 3 in the world.
For the next 2 years, Ice dropped out of the public eye. He raced on the Florida motocross circuit under his real name and collected dozens of trophies.
It's the best sport on earth. There's nothing like it. It's just total adrenaline. It fuels me, you know? Maybe it helps me in everything I do, and it pushes me, you know? Gives me self-discipline, and it helps me achieve a lot of things. I like to win, you know?
It was like he went underground. You know, he just disappeared. And I think he had been under attack, and there had been so much criticism, you know, for somebody that's in their young 20s, that nobody can endure that kind of punishment.
In 1994, Ice took a chance on music again and began work on a new album called Mind Blowin'. It was
the direction I want to stay with this album is, you know, true to hip hop, because that's what the music is and that's what I'm into. And I realize that it's a culture, and that I realize that I'm a white guy doing it, but it still comes from my heart. This is me, and this is no image made up or anything. I want to give people me whether they like it or not.
Fans weren't buying the new Vanilla Ice, and when the album failed to break into the top 200, SBK Records dropped him from the label.
I've seen this all the time, you know, where we're your best friends, and we're this, and we're that, and, you know, it couldn't be any better. Overnight, we're not returning phone calls. You know, we no longer respond to any of his requests or needs or anything like that, and that was it.
His career now undeniably in ruins, Ice says he fell into a period of heavy drug use. It began, he says, with a drug called ecstasy, also known as X.
Heroin, X, coke, mostly, and just lots and lots and lots of it.
Ice says his life became a series of highs and hangovers until the 4th of July, 1994. That day, feeling lonely, Ice invited his friends over to his house for a day of fun in the sun.
Huge party at my house in Dallas. Huge. I was racing jet skis at the time, and I had a whole bunch of jet ski friends at my house, and I felt loved, which I haven't felt in a long time, since '92.
But as the party started winding down, so did his mood. Even surrounded by a house full of people, Ice says he was overcome by powerful feelings of failure and despair.
I was so depressed, I was like, you know what? These people are here not for me or anything, just they're here because there's a nice house here and it's a party going on, and they're here to drink and have a good time. And what am I going to go into tomorrow? And I was thinking about, you know, tomorrow. I'm going to be all lonely again and depressed, and I don't have anybody here. I don't have a life at all. My life is just so mixed and horrible that I don't even want to live anymore. And I wanted out.
He was world famous, a multimillionaire, and all he could think of was suicide. Ice consumed every drug he could get his hands on.
I tried to kill myself. I wanted to die. I did not want to face reality at all.
Friends discovered Ice passed out on the floor, struggling to breathe.
I was convulsing, I was puking blood, nose was bleeding, and my friends were dumping buckets of cold water on me, and it was really ugly.
The entire night, his friends kept a vigil over him, watching closely until he regained consciousness the following morning.
I woke up the next day and I was still alive, and I was like, oh, I'm still here. Whoa. And I felt like, God, I got a second chance here. What am I going to do with this?
His first step was to seek out professional help. With the aid of a psychiatrist, Ice says he was able to kick drugs and rebuild his self-esteem. A year to the day after his overdose, Ice met Laura Jarita, a young woman Ice says helped him get his feet on the ground. After 2 years of dating, Ice and Laura got married, and in September of '97, they had their first child, a little girl named Dusty Rain.
He likes having the baby and he wants to have more. I want to have more. I'd like to have a lot of kids running around the house. He's a big kid, so I got 2 kids.
In less than a decade, Ice had gone from the heights of fame to the depths of depression, to something approaching a normal life.
In the end, through it all, he learned from it. You know, he's a great family man. What can I say? He's cool. He's a cool cat.
Ice says although the journey almost killed him, it's one he's determined never to forget.
I'm gonna give my daughter everything that I never had growing up. And I'm not gonna expose her to all the crap that I was exposed to growing up. Because that can ruin somebody, man. That's what I'm gonna do, is be the leader for her. And I'm gonna let her learn from all my experiences and lead her in the right direction.
Despite his difficult and often painful past, Vanilla Ice says he's moving into the future, making music without fear or compromise.
I've always been into music, you know, and I'm gonna keep making music whether I have a... If you like the music or you don't like it, that's fine.
Ice still strikes a chord. You know, whether it's good or bad, I mean, that's up to, you know, people to decide.
Monty Lipman, who was at SBK Records for Ice's dramatic rise and fall, signed him to a new deal in '97.
He's a star and he always will be a star. You know, he's got that appeal that you just can't define.
To help create Ice's new sound, Lipman approached the critically acclaimed producer, Ross Robinson.
I said, I need you just to kind of open the, you know, expand your mind for a moment, you know, because I'm going to come at you with something that you are going to think is the most ridiculous thing in the world.
I started laughing, like hysterically, thinking it was a joke.
But Ross signed on, and together he and Ice made the CD, Hard to Swallow, featuring a radical new take on Ice Ice Baby.
One of the best I've recorded. He just came out and he did what he needed to do. You know, this guy's sold, what, 15 million records plus? This humility. That's what I love about him.
The music they made is aggressive and raw, a sound they hope might convince a skeptical public to give Vanilla Ice another chance.
Coming out to appreciate and embrace what I'm doing is just incredible, you know? It's like, wow, to me, you know, to see all this is like, wow, wicked.
There's nothing you can do!
Today, Ice says he has no expectations and really no desire to gain the kind of fame he achieved back in '91.
Life is not about material things like I thought it was as a young idiot. Life is about your little clique at home, you know? This little bitty crowd of people you hang out with every day that you wake up and eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with. That's what life is about. That's what your life is about. All the rest of this is entertainment.
Ice.
Those days, I'm way beyond it. Way beyond it. And I'm much happier today.
Does it hurt?
The areas, like this area here, for instance, it doesn't hurt at all. I mean, you can sit here and go and watch him, you know. You move up to here. Well, I can honestly say that this is by far the most painful interview I've ever done. Doesn't bother you at first, it's after a while. Almost done.
Word to your mother.